So now we need to, you need to, as a company, you need to set a target for the company. So then basically we are going to the evolving process. So as you can see, it's not a revolution, so you need to do it analyzing and then rebuilding, building and rebuilding again. So the business case is not going to be out quick. You need to analyze your performance against the SDG 9 in terms of the material issues. You already have, in that case, you already have, in this moment, you already have the material issues and you already have the materiality matrix. So you know what is important for the most important stakeholders in the company. So you are supposed to analyze your performance against that material issue for your company and also benchmark against peers in order to find out the risk, what are the risks and what are the opportunities for your company to basically go further. So basically cutting emission for your company is the kind of opportunity to promote your company in the market at the same time as the risk if it goes further. So you analyze the data which comes from the materiality matrix and then adjust the strategic priority and then build and rebuild and build again the business case in accordance with the priorities, because the priority is also it's kind of a dynamic priority you have, so you have to get back. So always you start with the engaging, evolving, execution and back. So priorities can be changed over time. Maybe you can start with the 4 SDG, including number 9, but then you realize at the end that okay, you need to add 2 more or 3 more or 5 targets more into the whole process to build the business case. And then once you get the approval from your stakeholders, then you start planning the execution. By planning the execution, you need some indicators. So then key performance indicators are important for a company to be able to set the target and then assign responsibility to your organization and also maybe to your supplier, to your customer somehow, if it's a B2B business model. And then you start cascading objectives, and this is basically starting setting of targets. But setting up the targets normally comes to 5 steps. So it should be specific, so it should be measurable and attainable. You need to achieve it at the end, and it should be relevant and also time bounded. So I'm going to try to talk about some of them quickly. In terms of the specific targets, we can have 2, in the particular case of SDG 9, we can have 2 different target model and the type for SDG 9. If we say that we have a greenhouse gas emission, we would like to have a cut on it. So we can go for the relative target or we can go for the absolute target. And then this is a stats that basically as a public we look at it. So because the big company normally go for relative target, because relative target normally is set and put in the context of another variable. So we say that okay, we have a reduction on the greenhouse gas emission per revenue. But okay, so if your company is the fast-growing company, your revenues goes up, but in total consumption of the basically emission that you are producing is also goes up. But at the end, you achieve the relative target of gas emission cutting, basically you promise, because of course you 50% reduction of the gas emission, but at the same time, so your total emission goes up. And normally companies like this one because it's a lower risk to go and may trend positively, but at the end, so your impact basically grows in terms of the negative actions. So this is the things you need to understand which way to go. But absolute target is pretty straightforward. It's credible to go. So you say, for instance, you have to have a cut emission by 2020 with the amount of the emission that you had in 2000. So basically it's really clear, so you need to do it. So you can also split it into the year to year, but at the end you need to do the cut of the emission of the 20%, for instance, from 2007 to 2020, and that's it. So it's not going to be related to other variable, which is you can basically decouple business growth from the environmental and social impact. If it's possible to go this way, so this is the basic way to go. But it's up to normally the shareholder and CEO, and the relative more familiar, more popular among the shareholder. But also we need to have kind of the measurability. So it's not possible to talk about SDG 9 and not talk about measurability of the industry innovation infrastructure. We need to measure some things and link these targets to value and then define the performance indicators, because defining performance indicators is not saying, okay, I'm going to set my KPI now and then this KPI can measure everything. So you need to understand materiality matrix first, what is material, and then try to have a measurability in place by looking at the changing the business plan. And also identify disclosure. Already SDG 9, also some others SDG have disclosure, which can be found in the reporting system like GRI or some other system. So this disclosure is there, but this disclosure is available disclosure, business disclosure. Doesn't mean that this available business disclosure applies to your company, or doesn't mean that necessarily mean that is enough for your company. You may also add some other disclosure to identify risks and opportunities. And then you start data collection of what you're doing and what's your performance against, for instance, gas emission cutting. And then at the end, basically, you report it. But of course, also it should be achievable. So it's kind of the attainability. It's something that is basically like obvious. So, but also at the end, so it's these targets and the targets that you also focus on, it should be relevant to material issues that you already set. So always you need to start with the materiality analysis and materiality assessment and materiality matrix, because you need to get back to these material issues all the time. So it's kind of the feedback that you have to kind of the loop back to the materiality assessment, and then look at the backward-looking indicators and forward-looking indicators. Of course, you as a company look at the revenue margin and other related financial issues, but also look at the non-financial issues like customer service, which is indirectly affect your company, but not directly. And diversity rates or brand value and employee engagement. So these are the things that you need to understand what are the relevant to your company based on the materiality matrix. So if you have what are important under SDG 9 or any other SDG, so then you will also be able to set the forward or backward looking indicators. And then you start with also the time bound is really important. We talk about it somehow, but okay, it's not possible to say that I cut emissions. So you need to say, okay, which timelines. For instance, it can be timelines by reaching reducing the emission 2020 for the level of 2000, or you can also say year by year, 4% reduction per year. So both sustainability need to look at the both short and long term goals.